In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget fights and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Grenada is our home, and we must do everything in our power to make sure that development come, that opportunities come, right? We want development. So we must make sure that all the development that can come in our communities, come in our constituency, that they do happen. We should never stand in the way of development. I want to say to you, anytime you see the obstructionists or those obstructionists or the NNP surrogates, pundits attacking you, it means that you are getting to them. Don't fool yourself. They will not attack you if you are doing nothing. But once you are getting to them, I did a particular program during last week, and that program really connected with a lot of Grenadian people, and it caused a lot of NNP surrogates, pundit supporters to be very uncomfortable, where I spoke about the social safety net programs and who are the real beneficiaries of those programs. And when I spoke about this notion that the NDC has, right, those at the top, that the NDC supporters do not need anything, that's a false idea. They are supporters of the NDC who are in need, and they must given the kind of assistance, because ultimately they will be the ones who would guarantee the re-election of this party. So the NNP realized that I am getting to them when I point out some of the programs and how they have been able to capitalize and benefit from it. They eat enough food because they still have the agents in different ministries and departments making sure that they are taken care of. The NNP supporters. So they still living good. They still enjoying it. So I'm getting to them. And they realize that. So they are waging a war. But they must know that I am accustomed to that kind of, well, attacks, that kind of publicity. In fact, controversy makes me even greater in talk show and with my programming. So when they cut little pieces of my program and they feature it on their program and they talk about it, it's even better for me, because people then will discover Kem Jones even more. And when they realize what I am saying is the truth and the reality, then they don't go anywhere. I know of so many people who start listening to this program because people publish stuff or they attack Kem Jones and so on and so forth. And then they get to discover me. They want to hear what Kem Jones has to say. And when they come over, they don't go anywhere. They get to love the program. They get to appreciate the program more and more and more. So again, let them continue to attack Kem Jones. My back is broad. If you're in the kitchen and you're not feeling the heat, then something is wrong. So I am not perturbed. I'm not worried at all. In fact, I prefer they attack me than they attack anybody else, because I am fortified. I am able to deal with it, right? Many a times when they do, I laugh, or I have a drink of wine or coffee and I just laugh over it, That is how I operate. So I am not worried at all. We have to remain focused, keep our eyes on the prize. The leader made a real fool of himself in the parliament. Keith Mitchell, he made a real fool of himself. And people are seeing him for what he is right now. His behavior is unbecoming, and that's great. That's really great. The NNP has been painted with one brush. They're obstructionists. They do not want to see development come to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. They don't want prosperity for you. They don't want betterment for you. They don't. So they know all of that. And they realize that we were able to kill this whole rumor of LGBTQ being taught in school and added to the curriculum and all these lies. We were able to kill that. We were able to kill nearly everything that they concoct, that they invent, that they throw out there. They're not getting anywhere. And they realize that. It means that we are very effective in what we do, and we have to remain focused, talk about the positive things, because the Grenadian people, home and abroad, they want to hear about the positivity, positive things that are happening in the country. So don't be afraid. Let us keep at it. Look, they have thrown the kitchen sink at me, the whole bathtub at me in the past, but I am still standing. So you have to remain focused, understand that what is required at this point in time is patriotism, love for country, and support for the good things that are happening in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And we must never lose sight of that. The government is doing a lot, and they will be attacked. We saw the free tuition at TAMCC, at NULO, universal education from pre-primary to secondary, where parents don't have to find the extra money to get their children into the schools. That is being attacked by the NNP and their surrogates, pundits, and so on. They don't want good for you. They attack it to the core. Now, the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee submitted their report, their suggestions, their recommendations as it relates to adjusting the wages of working people. The NNP is attacking that also. They're attacking it because they don't want good for you. The surrogates are out there attacking it left, right, and center. But let me this morning play for you what the Honorable Claudette Joseph had to say. She's the Minister of Legal Affairs, Labor. She's also the Attorney General. So she is the authority to speak on this. So I'll be featuring her this morning. Firstly, let's look at the minimum wage aspect of things and what she had to say there. And then we're going to move to the next item. And do not be too worried, those on Facebook and YouTube, about the quality of the video, but listen to what she had to say.
In the campaign, one of the promises made by the now administration was the review and increase of minimum wages in Grenada, which, although required by law to be reviewed every 3 years, was not reviewed since 2011. And keeping good and true to that promise, we did constitute the Wages Advisory Committee, and they, I am happy to report to this House and to the nation, have submitted to the Cabinet the final report, which will be shared with the public shortly in further consultations that have been directed to be commenced by the Cabinet. Madam President, the committee, in the consultations held leading up to the report, had 7 or so public consultations, not including appearances on the media, radio and TV, and of course, many more private and direct consultations with stakeholder organizations, including the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association, the call center operators, construction sector, the bus associations, the public sector senior managers, the relevant ministries such as the Ministry of Agriculture, because as we know, the agricultural workers feature in the minimum wages order, the beverage manufacturers, bakery associations, security companies, civil society organization, media workers association, among others. These are some of the stakeholders, apart from the public consultations, that the Wages Advisory Committee engaged. And might I just back up to say that the Wages Advisory Committee consists of the tripartite arrangement involving government, the labor movement, and the employers, equally represented on that committee. And so we are going to be holding a series of public consultations so that we can have further input and interrogation of the recommendations made. And after that, those consultations and feedback from the public, further review if necessary. So we have recommendations which I think the public would be happy to hear about and would have much input. Might I say that we have, for the first time, the proposal is to increase, or sorry, to include in the minimum wages order media workers, reporters and announcers. Also, workers in the call center industry, the call center workers, they will be provided for the first time. Recommendation is to increase, for example, the hourly wage for security guards to $9.50. Now, this is just a report containing these recommendations, which may be adjusted after the second round of consultation that we are about to embark on. So, let me put on this pencil. Yeah. After the second round of consultation that we are about to embark on. The report, for the first time, introduces the concept of a living wage, which is something I know the labor movement advocated heavily for. And so, apart from the sector specifically provided for in the order, the recommendation of the committee is to have a basic minimum wage in Grenada to cover all sectors that are not specifically provided for in the order. So if you're not specifically provided for, the basic minimum wage will apply to you, and the recommendation in relation to that is $1,200. So I will just, Madam President, with your permission, go through very quickly some of the adjustments. So we have, for example, machine operators, cutters, mechanics, cleaners. Cutters, adjustment from $60 a day, that's currently obtains to $85. Machine operators from $85 to $100. Cleaners from $35 a day to $60 a day. Clerical workers from $700 a month to $1,200 a month. Security guards, I said, from $8 to $9.25. Domestic workers from $7.25 a month to $1,200 a month. Caregivers, persons caring for the elderly, and early childhood workers from $700 to $1,400. So here I have 100%, a recommended 100% increase. And persons in bakeries from $240 a week to $375 a week, wrappers and packers from $170 to $275, and agricultural workers $6.50 an hour to $12 an hour, and then construction workers, all of them having quite reasonable increases. We have two categories under construction workers that were not previously included in the minimum wages order. That would be the laborer and the helper. Recommendation there, $65 and $60 per day, respectively. Bus drivers and conductors for drivers from $60 a day to $80 a day. Bus conductors from $35 a day to $60 a day. Helpers, utility workers, across the board, $1,400. And so another key and new feature that we will see in this new minimum wages order, once approved by the nation in the consultations that will come, is the equalization across parishes of the minimum wages. So as currently obtained, they have discrimination based on gender when you come to the agricultural sector, and also based on location for the hospitality industry and for most of the area, the matters covered under the order. The proposal is to have a standard wage across the state with no distinction in persons working in St. George's who now will earn more than those working in, say, St. Patrick in the hospitality industry. So this is a new concept where we have the equality in terms of wages across gender and local. So we ask the public to participate and engage in this new round of consultation that will take place from September, so that when the new minimum wages order come into effect, it really truly reflects what the Grenadian people desire and what the economy also desires and can sustain. Right? So thank you very much, and I would like to place on record the government's gratitude to the chairman of the Wages Advisory Committee, Dr.
Yes, indeed. So again, that's good news. So remember, they had a number of consultations, engaging the general public, engaging the businesses, engaging all stakeholders. The committee submitted this report, the first report, their findings and their recommendations. So the next move is to have further consultation. So you heard all the different figures and so on, and how, this thing will change. But they have not confirmed anything as yet. What they will do is to go back and have further consultation. So now that the report is in from the committee, making those recommendations. And remember, this was a campaign promise. You realize the NDC is keeping to the campaign promises. They promised to address the minimum wage in the country, and that is something that I have been advocating for years. So it is a good thing when you can stick to your promise. So again, just saying, it is not confirmed, it's not final as yet. Consultations were held. The committee then submitted their their findings and made recommendations to cabinet, to the government. So what will happen now, they will come back to the people again for some more consultations, engaging the people. And then from that, they will make a final submission. So the government will then gazette this. They're going to, make sure that this thing is in law, so that every employer must abide by it. So again, that's a good thing. But note, this supposed to happen every 3 years. Under the NNP, they refuse. They never ever address the minimum wage issue, And that is why I get angry with some of the NNP supporters who out there talking and preaching and pushing NNP. The NNP don't like you. They never like you. They don't care about you. They never cared about you. Because if they cared about you, what they would have done is to make this particular law one that, comes to life, where every 3 years you review the minimum wage and you make the necessary adjustments so that the working man and woman in the private sector, in the public sector, can have a better salary, can collect better wages, and can live a better life. The NNP did not address the minimum wage for the 20-something years they were in power. They never did. Now the NDC, in power, they have to address this issue, and they're addressing it. This is a big thing. And if you care about yourself, if you like yourself, you will embrace this. You will applaud this. And you will see the NNP for what that organization is. They don't care about you. The NNP, Keith Mitchell and all of them, they don't care about you. The Emlyn Pair and the Kate and all of them, they don't care about you, or else they would have addressed the minimum wage issue. Sometimes when you listen to the NNP in the parliament, you get the sense that they were never in power. They give you the impression that they were never in power. So they would criticize the NDC as though the NDC been in power for 20-something years. That is what they give you, I mean, I don't know if people get that same feel when they speak in the parliament from the NNP end. You get the feel as though they just arrived. They were never there. For 20-something years, they were in power. But it took the NDC just 14 months to start addressing this issue of minimum wage. But the NNP still criticizing it, because they don't want good for you. The NNP don't want good for you. They don't want you to prosper. They don't want betterment for you. And they would find some way of criticizing it, and some way of saying, well, the economy cannot handle it, and some way of saying, well, the businesses will this and that will that. Well, they said the same thing with the bi-monthly salary. They said it's not feasible. It cannot be done. Well, it was done. And it continues to be very effective. They said the same thing about the pension. They said, well, if the government pays the pension, the economy will collapse. But it was done, and the economy is doing well. And we can go on and on and on. The NDC is transforming this nation step by step by step, brick by brick. And we have to embrace that. That is why I say to you, we have to support this government throughout. We have to defend this government, cost it what it may. They will come under attack by those obstructionists and by the NNP and their surrogates, because they don't want good for you. We have to stand up in the gap and defend them. No matter who come out and attack them, we have to defend them, because it is important to ensure that this government fulfill its agenda to transform this country. We have to defend the NDC, promote the NDC, defend the NDC administration, and promote the NDC administration, promote the government. Throughout, on social media, on radio, just name it, you will come under attack. They will attack you. In fact, the NNP has no substance. So they go attack your hair, they go attack your mouth, they go attack your face, they go attack your nose, they go attack the way you dress, They go attack where you walk. They go attack how you speak. They have no substance. They cannot attack you on substance. And that is why some people send me messages where they're attacking them and so on. I say, remain focused. Remain focused. I say, I'm accustomed to attacks personally, and it doesn't move me. It's no self feeling happier, for a want of a better word here. I am simply saying, folks, remain focused. They're lacking substance, and because of that, they're going to personally attack you. Do not be moved. Use me as an example. They attack me on all different fronts. All different fronts. But I am still standing. I am still doing what I am doing. And I know they would come after me and attack me. But I am not giving in to them. I'm remaining focused. Right? And the minute time they do stuff or they say stuff that lead to me directly, I will sue them. Because I'm different. I am different. So they know what they are doing here. So they out there throwing like a thing, all and it's alleged, and I ain't know, and they ain't know, and they ain't this, and they ain't have the information, but yeah, that's how they do it. And then the host of the program has to cut certain things they're saying, right? Block certain things that they're saying so the public wouldn't hear because they know I'm recording, I'm following what they're doing. They know. Don't think they know, They know what they're doing. But they're scared. They're scared of Kem Jones because they know I will deal with them. So I am saying to you, do not give in. Remain focused. Understand a lot of good things are happening in Grenada, Carriacou, and the PT Martinique. And they would find some way to attack you personally or go after you personally. But remain focused. Use me as an example. They have attacked me on many fronts, but they have not succeeded. They have not succeeded, people. They attacked me. I remember they did a video with all, the pictures of me eating and stuff, from me being in Brazil, Colombia, Guyana, Canada, the United Kingdom, China, Japan, Singapore, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, just name it. So they concoct these things, they put these things together, right? And they say to you, well, look at what Kem Jones doing with your money, right? Eating in high places, and mind you, all the photos that they took are really of me going in different countries, because I have traveled to about 49 countries in the world. I don't boast, I don't brag. These things don't move me anymore, right? Because normally when I travel to all those, long, far areas, sometimes I get, burn out, right? And I'm a tall guy, a fairly tall guy. So my foot might swell, so all these different things, I just cut it out. It's just too much. I have traveled a lot of countries, right? So they did all of that, and they still did not succeed because we were able to do what we had to do and win the election. They attacked my family. Remember, they attacked my mother. And it's what they do. They concoct with a certain individual with the land and all different things. And what happened? We were able to build a new house. Don't forget that, It's a major achievement, A new house for my mother. Completely new, bigger, better, right? In fact, only today, I was trying to organize with the mason to do some plastering of the veranda to complete that process, right? Because I love my mother. But I'm saying to you, they attack her, remember? Just before the election. And it's what then say, what that yield, what that eventually brought a brand new house. I'm telling you, bigger and better. So no matter what they do, they attack me personally. They say, okay, I'm just on radio and this and that. Well, look, I am now going towards a radio station, and I will achieve that. A brand new radio station will come. So don't worry, use me as an example. They attack me being on radio, asking you to support the program, to give to the program, to make sure that the program remains on air. Well, you have been doing that, and anytime they attack the program, and attack by saying, well, look, you're on air begging or asking you to give. Well, it's more you giving. More you giving to support what I do, right? To keep the program on air. Because the people who give and support what I do, they understand that I'm genuine in this. So no matter what they do, they are not successful. It's no self people loving me. It's no self people loving my family. They're taking care of me, my family, and everybody else. Everything is okay. Because I believe if we remain focused and if we keep being honest, sincere with the Grenadian people, and if we put God in the center of what we do, I told you that people will come from near and far and support what I do and take care of me and my family because they understand the sacrifice that I am making for Grenada. People will come near and far. Remember, they attack the first event. We have 10 events to host, to have, to put on. They attack the first event, you know. They attack it, and they suddenly go, boss, and this is going to happen. We were projecting between $30,000 to $40,000 profit from the first event. We were able to make $62,300, and then a good friend gave $500 towards the event, right? So it moved up to $62,800, and another friend gave $300 only recently. So that moved it to $63,100. So we were able to make far more than what we projected, almost double. So when they attack Kem Jones, they're not being successful. So use me as an example. So when they attack you, just say to yourself, well, they attack Kem Jones more. And look at the fact that Kem Jones is still standing and is still successful and things are still happening, right? So use that as an example. Do not give up. Do not give in. Remain focused. Let them attack me. And even if they attack you, just say to yourself quietly, they're attacking Kem Jones more. And Kem Jones still doing the 2 programs. Kem Jones still doing all his initiatives and all his things. And whatever he touches is successful. Just keep it like that, right? So more the attack is more things continue to happen. Please, I urge you, remain focused. So let's move to the next positive thing, where the lands situated on Grandans Beach, where Radisson now sits. Because remember what happened. The NNP administration gave the lands 20 or so acres to some individual to promote Grenada. The lands, they worth millions of dollars, right? The government of Grenada was collecting a lease money every year from the hotel. They gave the lands to the individual, and he then owned the land, not lease, owned the land. They didn't give him the lease. They gave him the land, title and everything. He then owned the land. The hotel then paying, the hotel was required to now pay him instead of government that money every year. So the government is making moves. I think they're almost there to take back that land. And I believe it could be that they already took it back. But they're making moves to take back that land and keep it in Grenada hands, the government and people of Grenada. Also, they almost I think either they reached a settlement or they almost reach a settlement with that property in where Fantasia, you remember Flamboyant Hotel, going up to Fantasia there? You're going to Fantasia nightclub, Quarantine Point. You know that building there, unfinished building? Well, the government of Grenada, remember the NNP administration, they mess up, and the gentleman, the developer, took them to the international court. The government is trying to settle this. I think they're almost there. I don't know if they settled it already, but they're almost there. But we're going to listen to that next piece to settle, and that property will come in the hands of the people of Grenada, which is really good. And I think it's a really good move, if you ask me.
Act 2023, by which we seek approval for an additional $148,990,234 to support the work and agenda of the government in the existing budget period. Madam President, my colleagues have ably debated the bill in many respects already, so I would just take a few moments to highlight a few matters, particularly in relation to votes 20 and 30, and then perhaps some general comments otherwise. Madam President, I speak in relation to vote 20, that's the requested appropriation under the Ministry of Finance. There, Madam President, item 048561, acquisition of assets and investments, I would like specifically to address this matter. Madam President, years ago in the period before the revolution, even before I was born, government of Grenada, mainly under Sir Eric Gairy, adopted a policy by which prime real estate remained the property of the people of Grenada. And in particular, the real estate on which one of the world's top beach rests was particularly protected by successive governments in that they ensured that the lands in the Grand Anse area, and particularly on Grand Anse Beach, remained the property of the people of Grenada. That all fell apart.
To the folks on Facebook who are concerned about those who might come under the live and post all kind of stuff, remember I am also following the comments. So as they pop up, and Lacey, yes, I already blocked that person. You know, a lot of fake pages, the NNP surrogates and so on, they set up a lot of fake pages with the hope that they're going to be able to get through with this program, but they're not. The minute time they come under the live, I am able to block them both ways, so they're not able to survive. All right? And no matter where they exist, I will be able to find them and block them on YouTube, on Facebook, everywhere. I'm able to block them there. So don't worry. All right? Nice.
From around 1995 and continued when we were literally not sold out, but given away. Our prime assets, our prime real estate all over Grenada, and particularly on Grand Anse Beach, was given away. We got, in most instances, almost nothing in return. And by giving away our prime assets, we became a poorer nation. So just as individuals were made to become and remain poor and vulnerable, and that carried around as some kind of badge of honor, so too our nation became poor and vulnerable because our assets, our things of value were given away. In local parlance, we were sold out. They sell us out. We, this administration, Madam President, hold fast to the position and policy adopted by our leaders prior to 1995. That valuable real estate in this country must remain the property of the people of this country. And so, Madam President, there are just under about 27 or 28 acres of land in total on Granans Beach that was transferred to private non-nationals. To private non-nationals. Freehold. The freehold was transferred. Because prior, how the prior governments ensured that the property belonged to us while we enjoyed the benefit of it is that whoever had use and possession of the property had a lease. They leased those properties and paid a rent to the government and people of Grenada. So in the case of the property on which the Radisson Hotel rests, the owner of the hotel has a lease because the property belonged to we the people. One day before the 2008 general elections, that property, the freehold interest in that property was transferred to a private individual. Well, let me be correct. Let me be precise in what I say. To a company owned and managed by a private individual. And the conveyance is notorious. It's notoriously known because a lot of shame was cried upon a government that less than 24 hours before an election signed a conveyance in which not one dime, not $1 was transferred to our treasury for that 20 acres of land. The consideration was a promise that a world-renowned athlete or sportsman would promote Grenada. And in the conveyance, there wasn't sufficient specifics. What this sportsman was required to do wasn't specified enough so as to enforce that agreement. That was supposed to bring value to us, but not $1 went to our treasury. And with that transfer of the freehold, that company became the landlord, collecting $250,000 a year. That $250,000 was previously collected by the people of Grenada as rent. So we lost that property. And there was an attempt by the previous NDC administration between 2010 and 2012 to reclaim that property. And the matter was challenged in court, and the property returned to the private entity, a company named Tyneberg Holdings. We, this government, have entered into an agreement with Tyneberg Holdings, and now I cast no aspersions or say anything negative on the company and its owners, because it's a commercial deal. If you're doing a deal and you get a good deal, you take the deal. You get a bargain, you run with it. So the blame was on the government that one day before the election entered into that transaction, which was totally disadvantageous to us. So this government, Madam President, has entered into an agreement with Tyneberg Holdings to purchase, to get back that property for the people of Grenada. And we have already paid the deposit. The nation would note that there were some publications in the Gazette indicating an acquisition. But I am happy to report to the nation that the negotiations with Tyneberg got to a stage where we felt we had to acquire the property. But notwithstanding the acquisition or the publication of the notice, the discussions continued, and then the parties agreed to do a sale. So what I say to the people of Grenada, that property would be returned to the people of Grenada with absolutely no risk of there being a challenge to the acquisition of us having again gotten ownership of the property. So that matter is closed, and the purchase price, $5 million US, is included in the 60 million allocation under vote 20. We had to negotiate the best deal that we could to get back the property. $5 million US, that's the cost. That's the cost of recklessness and, frankly, misbehavior in public office by our previous administration. That's the cost. That's the best deal we could get. But the property will soon again belong fully to Grenadians, 20 acres. Madam President, the other property that is where Flamboyant Hotel on the other end of Grand Anse, Flamboyant Hotel rested. Again, the nation will recall the absolute disgusting and frankly racist and xenophobic comments made by our former Prime Minister in this honorable house against an investor with whom the government had fallen out. They enter into bad deals, and business people are business people. They will look for the best deal they can get. And then relations broke down, and the investor behind the Kiwana Bay project exited Grenada and sued Grenada before ICSID. Well, you know, we don't have luck in ICSID because we lost the Grenlec case magnificently. And this one, we probably would have lost again because, you know, those awful comments made by the former Prime Minister, of course, they found their way into the arbitration documents before ICSID, not making us look good. But there were deeper issues than that, and on assuming office, we felt it best to engage respectfully into negotiations with the owners of the Kiwana Bay project. And we are happy to report to the nation and to this honorable house that we have essentially reached a settlement. We have reached an agreement with the Kiwana Bay principals that will be consummated during the course of this week, before this week is up. The agreement will be consummated. And that agreement will, again, see the Kiwana Bay property, just over 5 acres of land on the far end of Grand Anse Beach, again coming back to the people of Grenada. We will once more own that property. Because, and the conveyances are there, they are public records at the Deeds and Land Registry. Again, we owned the freehold in that property. The owners of Flamboyant, who by the way were locals, Grenadians, had a lease. But in 2016, the government transferred the freehold to True Blue Bay, which is a property owned by Mr. Newfield.
Right, so folks, you see, a lot of good things are happening, and the NNP don't want you to hear about them. They don't want you to know about them. They don't want this to be discussed at all. These things are big. These are major, major, major achievements. They don't want you to hear about them. But this program will make sure that you hear about them. That is why they would attack me or attack you and so on, who continue to defend the government and promote the government. These are big things. This is big, big news. So I want to encourage us to remain focused. Remain focused. Let us talk about the good things that are happening consistently so. Right? We go take them on when we have to take them on. But let us focus on the good things that are happening. Folks, you have to wrap it up here. I want to thank you very much for being a part of the program. I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll be back with you tonight in the hub. Last night we had some internet challenges, but you know, those things happen from time to time. So I'll be back with you in the hub starting from 8 in the PM.